as a leader, you can learn all the techniques and the tactics and the strategies on how to do good performance review, how to hire better, what questions to ask, and how to have influential communication. So you can learn the techniques, but if your mindset is not there, if you don't really understand what leadership is about, and for me, it's like the mindset of my success as a manager depends on the success and performance of my team.
Hi, and welcome to Helping People Perform, the podcast that gives you fascinating insights into those people whose chosen vocation is to help others perform at their best. From consultants to teachers, sports coaches to financial advisors, all of my guests share a passion for getting the most out of individuals, teams, and organisations. Enjoy the episode. Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Helping People Perform, where I talk to some amazing people whose chosen vocation in life is to help others perform at their best. Delighted to be joined today from Hamburg in Germany. We have author of Leading in VUCA Times, and if anybody's watching the video here, you'll see the picture of the book behind Evan's head here. But welcome to the show today, Evan Tzivanakis. Welcome.
Hey, Paul, how are you? Very good to be with you and nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. An absolute pleasure to have you on the show here. And I'm looking forward to this. I think we're going to have some great chat and find out about what you do and what you do, what the book's about, but also what you do in the world of consulting and advisory and coaching as well. So there's lots to get at in this episode. So I hope the audience get a load out of it. So maybe let's kick off with, tell us a little bit about your backstory. What got you to where you are today?
Yeah, and thank you for pronouncing my surname absolutely correct. Some people struggle. Well, I come from a very corporate background. When I finished high school, I studied in Switzerland. Then I went over to the UK. Right. I did my MBA in Leeds, at Leeds Beckett University. Back then, I think it was, now it's called Leeds Beckett. Back then, it was called the Leeds Met University.
Right. Yep.
And after that, I lived in the UK and worked in the UK for 10 years. I started in sales. I became a team leader, manager. And then I ended up managing two companies in the UK. Okay, around 70 people. I was the managing director of the Bristol office. I moved from Leeds down to Bristol. And I've also managed the office in Swindon.
Right.
And after that, doing it for around 10 years, and I suppose at that time I had enough of the weather, I fancy a change, and I was, and I was headhunted, and somebody said, a recruiter headhunted, and I said, do you want to go to Cyprus?
Okay.
And I looked at the weather and everything, and, it's like winter time. January is like average 20 Celsius on average in January, 20 days a month sunshine. So it wasn't really a hard decision. No, it was, it was a hard decision, but I moved and I've helped a financial broker expand its operations in Asia.
Okay.
I was the APAC director, and my last year, I was with them for around 6 years. My last year, I was based out in Sydney, extensive travel, and anywhere, if you can imagine them up from east, anything from India up until Australia.
Yeah.
I was managing around 300 people, 6 offices, and then since 2017, I do learning and development. I do coaching and training. When I kind of stopped, working as a practitioner, I suppose, right? As a manager, as a director, right. I sat down for a few months and I thought, what do I want to do next?
Yeah.
And what I do now, I work closely with managers, right, across various industries, C-suites, and through personalized coaching and training programs. Okay. I aim to equip them with the tools and strategies needed to lead effectively in today's rapidly changing environment. So what I do, my approach is I go in and I understand their unique challenge.
Yep.
And then using proven frameworks of coaching and training, I help them with their specific needs.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, just, that whole background, there's loads of stuff going on there and loads that I think we can learn from. A couple of questions, that I'd like to delve into a little bit was, moving anyone who moves roles, there's two elements to what you've done. You've moved roles a little bit within sort of employment, but you've also moved from being employed to being self-employed and going into that solopreneur world. But you've also made that decision, by the sounds of it, a number of times to move countries, which is no small feat. I know this from experience. So what sort of advice, what sort of key lessons did you take from those moves that you had? Any advice you would give people who are thinking of doing that or might be inspired to do it?
Yeah. Great question. The first advice, I suppose, is to not to worry too much. I lived in 8 different countries, and the more you move, the more you realize it's more or less the same,
Right.
People are the same. The fundamentals of people, of honesty, trust, hard work, yes, religion, climate, food change, but people are the same deep inside them. So don't worry too much. Be agile, have an agile mindset. And it's easy for me to say, but, don't stress too much. And have patience, if you're moving to a different country, to a different culture, have patience, understand what is happening, and have that, and you need patience, when it comes, especially if you want to pivot your career, you really need patience to kind of start again. And so agility, patience, and sometimes we worry too much about small things that, at the end, it kind of evens out by itself. So agility and patience.
Brilliant. Oh, I mean, great words of wisdom there. And I think there's a lot people can take from that in its own right. So, I mean, tell us a bit more then about who you work with. So who do you help and how do you help them is the standard question of this podcast.
Yes. So my typical client, as I say, as I would kind of describe, is anyone who works in a managerial position, middle management and up.
Right.
It could be a manager, department head, C-suite, senior leadership, or a company founder.
Okay.
So those are the people I work with. And, some of the needs, for example, yes, Evan, for example, yes, my sales are down. Can you help?
Right.
Right? VP of sales, or even a CEO of a kind of a smaller company can come to me with this. So what I do, I will go in and I will do an assessment. And then I will propose a solution. Specifically for this example, sometimes people think it's a sales training program, but it's not. Sometimes we realize there's a motivational issue there.
Right. Yeah.
That we need to solve, or something could be toxicity, could be competition, it could be something else. So the first thing I would do before, I don't charge for this. I will do an assessment. I will propose you something. You agree, we move forward. You don't agree, no worries. Another example would be retention. Lately, employee retention is a really hot topic, especially with hybrid and remote work.
Yeah.
And especially with technology companies. I don't know why. Yes. Because yes. And again, a retention problem, it's a solution. It's a long-term solution. It's something that I will work with the team and the person for around a year.
Right.
And we're looking at different things, why people leave, what's happening in the external environment, what's happening internally. And then maybe it could be leadership development. It could be, engaging people. It could be all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And a good diagnosis, I think, is the most crucial part, to find out exactly what's happening behind the scenes, in between the lines.
Yeah, I think that's critical. I mean, certainly from my experience and from the clients I've worked with as well, quite often you'll be brought in with almost like, I'm buying this solution from you. And the true value is always in when you've done that due diligence, you've looked at what the actual problems are, what's sitting behind those problems. And I know it's a tricky thing, particularly if you're starting out early in your career as a solopreneur, to say, you brought me in to do this, but I'm going to say no. I think we should do this instead. And it can be a tricky conversation to have, particularly in the early stages in your career. Have you got any experience or advice in that space?
Yes, look, at the end of the day, the client that pays has, it's their decision. So, but that's number one. Number two, it's the leader, the other party, ideally they should have an open mindset,
right?
A growth mindset, to listen what you have to say and to see things from their perspective. It's not always easy, and that's why it's important for the leader to really have an open mindset, and then to listen to what you have to say, to listen to your explanation, to look at the facts, to look at the figures, and to take it from there. Because when sometimes and there's nothing, it doesn't mean the manager or the leader is wrong, but the issue sometimes is they are working, they are inside all the time, and you come in from an outside point of view, you can spot the issue straight away.
That being too close to the challenges themselves and the assumptions that you make when you've been in those roles as well. I've certainly been on that side of the fence as well, where you're so stuck in the moment that you can't step back and see where those issues are. So it's a huge value for people to get that advisory piece. And tell us a little bit then as well. You've got the book that you've written about, Leading in VUCA Times. First and foremost, I always get at least one of the VUCA bits wrong, so I'm going to throw it over to you to explain what we mean by VUCA in those terms.
Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous.
Right.
I wrote the book when I started with the idea of writing the book, when the first lockdowns came about around March 2020, right? Remember, around the world, it was the first quarter of 2020. Yes. And I finished it around a year ago.
Okay.
And it's 40 chapters, smaller kind of chapters of sharing my experiences, hybrid leadership, how to do performance reviews, what to do when your sales are down, leadership development, retention, company culture, the mistakes I've done, the lessons I've learned, and so on. So it's a book that it gave me the opportunity to express and to share my experience, and to hopefully support the people that read it, the managers that read it, in their leadership and management journey.
Wonderful.
And self-exploration, because this is what I believe. It's a self-exploration, as a leader, as a manager. You are always exploring and learning about yourself, first of all.
Yeah. And I think that's once you sort of, I wouldn't say give in, but you realize that the VUCA times aren't changing. In fact, they're getting more volatile, more uncertain. Then that is a mind shift that I see in a lot of managers, where they go, do you know what? I can't change that from happening. What I can change is how I react. And that is, it sounds like you've got some great tools and experience and techniques that people can use to put into practice for themselves. I can't wait to give it a read.
Well, I believe, that it's about the mindset. Exactly. You use the right terminology, because it's like, as a leader, you can learn all the techniques and the tactics and the strategies on how to do good performance review, how to hire better, what questions to ask, and how to, have influential communication. So you can learn the techniques, but if your mindset is not there, if you don't really understand what leadership is about, and for me, it's like the mindset of my success as a manager depends on the success and performance of my team. Another mindset, it could be that as a manager, it's my responsibility to help my team members develop and succeed. So unless you have that mindset of what leadership is all about, and unless this mindset comes from deep and you really believe it, if you do that, the rest will come easy.
Right. Wonderful. Now, I think that's a great little tip in its own right, for people to have a bit of self-reflection and see where their mindset's actually at, and if it's truly, be honest with yourselves, and if it truly is in that service of others, then fantastic. But if it isn't, and you would like it to be, then reaching out to people for coaching and support, reaching out to people like Evan and others, that is where a huge amount of value comes in that will really leverage all the learning that you do later on as well. So, doing some great work there, Evan.
I believe, just to wrap this up about leadership, I can talk about it forever. You probably noticed.
So can I.
We are moving into a world where leaders exercise less authority and more influence.
Right.
So is, delegation as a manager is really the mindset is getting things done by other people without exercising authority. That's the trick.
Yeah.
So can you influence people to do what you want them to do? That's the question.
Yeah. Oh, it's a brilliant thing, and I think particularly for people and managers who are taking that step from being in the team to leading the team, that's the most difficult part for a lot of this. So I do recommend that people go out and have a look at the book and have a look at other things that are out there, and really challenge yourself and get some self-reflection first. But this is where coaches and advisors really come into their own as well for leveraging that. I love to ask my guests about what they do to help themselves perform. So what are the things that you do that keep you on top of your game?
Yeah, it's very funny. I have a coach as well, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And for the reason is that a coach will keep you accountable. And that's the biggest strength. You have to do what you said you will do. A book is great, but a book is left brain. You put it down after a week, you're busy, you got it.
Yeah.
You take some things on it and you apply, but the biggest benefit of a coach is accountability. And that's what I do.
Yeah. No, it's
been I have a coach as well.
Yeah, it's been the biggest change in my life, in my career, when actually getting some coaching conversations and really challenging your own thinking. And I think once you've said to a coach, "This is what I'm going to do," then a good coach is going to hold your feet to the fire and really make you accountable for those things as well. So fantastic.
And challenge you and push you and bring you to the next level. And if you really want to be a champion in any sport, you need a coach. I mean, you can technically learn how to play tennis on YouTube and you go practice. But if you want to go to the next level, if you want to maybe compete a little bit regionally, it doesn't have to be nationally, but regionally, if you want to learn a little bit technique, you need somebody to take you to the next level.
Wonderful. And so maybe let me ask you this question then. If you, with the skill set and the experiences that you've got, who would you ideally want to help in terms of accelerating their performance?
You mean you want me to give you a name?
It can be a name, it can be a type of person, it can be a business, whatever comes to mind.
Yes. I like to help. I get really excited by this kind of founders, SME business founders, that are very intelligent people. They are very intelligent people. Like really intelligent. They have great IT companies, engineering companies, but what they lack of is people skills.
Right.
Because then I don't like to put people into boxes, right? But an IT person, engineer person, the mindset is different. And this is where, when I listen to the problems, where I hear the challenges, I really want to go in and solve it. Like retention. It's always about retention, culture, people management, leadership. Like, they have great products, they have great ideas, really innovative, but they cannot get the things I suppose we get. Right? We understand. And it's like, yes, I really want to help you. When it comes to a name, I would like, actually, I wish I had the opportunity. Maybe I should try to reach him out. The CEO of the online e-commerce, Zappos. You know Zappos,
okay,
right?
Yep.
I suppose.
Yep.
Yes. Why, you might ask? Because they have this management style which is called holacracy. I'm not sure if you heard the term.
I've heard about what they do there. It's fantastic stuff, isn't it?
I don't know if that's what I want to find out.
Right.
Because I also know the Lausanne Business School in Switzerland. They adopted the same thing, but they dropped it a couple of years later.
Right.
So it's basically a leaderless structure, right?
Yeah.
Which allows immediacy in time and promotes flexibility and individualization, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
But I want to find out, how much does it work? How much doesn't work? It works. What are the challenges? What are the benefits? What would you change? And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And that's the thing, I'll often talk to people about if you just try and copy and paste somebody else's culture, somebody else's approach, there's always one or two things that you're missing that, needs to be adapted for your organization before you adopt it. And I think that's where a lot of businesses, organizations, individuals miss out, is they go, here's the tool that I'm going to copy and paste, but I haven't got either the mindset or the supporting pieces behind it, or the structure, something about what makes that work that is less visible than the rest.
If you want my opinion, is like culture, right? Also personal culture, and the best, you cannot understand your own culture unless you study others.
Right. Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like, have you lived in another country? Have you seen how other companies do it?
Yeah.
And then you will understand your culture, which you thought you understood by studying others.
Yeah. No, it's such a great and easy and generally free approach that leaders can take, isn't it? By just going to a different organization and saying, look, I'd love to come and see how you do things so I can learn, and maybe let's reciprocate and you can come and learn from me. I think that's a tool in the toolkit that people have that they don't generally think about. But yeah, it's a great one. Maybe I could ask you the flip side of that. Maybe you've started answering this question anyway, but is, if you could sit down and have a drink, have a coffee, have a meal with somebody that you think you could learn from that would really up your game, who would you want that to be?
Yeah. Can I share with you a story that already happened?
Please do.
That question. I once had a chance, we were in an audience, and the people there, it was Rolling Stone.
Okay.
Right? It was back in the UK. So I was lucky to be there to listen what they have to say. And it was about marketing and how they do things. And I don't know, it was like 15 years ago. I don't remember. It was Mick Jagger there. It was all there, right? And they had some of the marketing people there and the product people. And I was brave enough to raise my hand. And I asked the question. I said, what excites me when I see you is like, how many performances in your life have you done? Online, offline, they don't even know, thousands, maybe a million. But I said, every time you come on stage, it's like you do it for the first time.
Yeah.
The excitement, the energy. And I said, why and how? And I don't remember who answered, but he said, first of all, he said two reasons. He said, first of all, because we enjoy doing it. And number two, he said, because we respect the audience. They pay the ticket to be here today. So we need to make sure they're having a nice time.
Brilliant.
And I was shocked by the answer, because at that level, they can be whoever they want to be. They don't care. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, go home. Yeah. But the mentality of, that mentality of, you pay the ticket, I respect you, I want you to have a nice time, it kind of blew me away. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those individuals, and I'm thinking of AC/DC and the likes of those guys who, even at the age they're at now, they are giving it their all. And it's that element of, it might be my 1000th time, but for the audience member, and it might just be one of the audience members out there, that's the first time, and this will be the magic moment in their life. And that's I think that's a great mindset to take into any organization as well, isn't it? And no matter what you've done 1,000 times, whoever's receiving that service, product, whatever it is, that might be their first time. And so treat that with respect. That's lovely.
And how to say this, Paul? And I think you need to genuinely, as a manager, to go back to that context, you need to genuinely like to work with people. And I don't mean being an introvert or an extrovert. There are some people that don't really enjoy working with others. They prefer to sit down and code or design or do something. And if you're not this kind of person, doesn't mean you're wrong. No, that's how you are. You will struggle to manage and lead.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. So it would be sitting down with the likes of Mick Jagger or one of the Rolling Stones and getting maybe continuing that conversation you had.
Yeah, hopefully. Who knows? Don't even know how old they are now. Anyway.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
yeah.
And so finally then, Evan, if people want to reach out, if they want to find out more, where can they go firstly to find the book, and where do they go to reach out and connect with you?
Look, you can do everything by connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
I've got a book. The link is there. Evan Tzivanakis. I'm quite active on LinkedIn. I like it. I post, I comment. So if you would like to connect, if you listen to this and you would like to connect, please type my name on LinkedIn, Evan, Evantzi, and I will come up and I'll be happy to connect with you and start a conversation if you like.
Brilliant stuff. And we'll make sure the links are in the show notes as always. And like I say in so many of my episodes as well, I do encourage people to take people up on this. You know, when people come on podcasts and they put themselves out there, it's not so that they can then step back into the background and live their life. They want to connect. And yeah, so do reach out to Evan. I'm sure you will not regret it one little bit. I've certainly enjoyed the conversations we've had so far, and long may they continue. And so just a huge thanks for sharing all your stories and insights today. And thanks for being on the show today, Evan Tzivanakis.
Pleasure was mine. Thank you for having me, Paul.
Cheers. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, then please give the podcast a rate, review, and share. I'm Paul Teasdale, and from sausage making to banking, oil and gas to Formula One, I help people perform. If you'd like to find out more and have a conversation, contact me via helpingpeopleperform.com.